This is question number 61 from book number 1 based on the 2020 NEC, and this is electricaltime.com. What is a path that is electrically conductive that can energize normally non-current carrying conductors, equipment, grounded conductors, or the earth back to the source of the electrical supply? And the available answers that we have is A, the grounded conductor, B, ground fault current path, C, grounding electrode conductor, or D, ground fault. Just want to take 30 seconds to let you know what we do here at electricaltime.com. We do online electrical classes from the comfort of your home, and then we also have this free service. So if you click on the subscribe for free NEC questions, Monday through Friday, you'll get an NEC code question and an answer sent to your email. All right, so back to our video. And the answer to this question is going to be B, and that's going to be the ground fault current path. So let's go into our textbook and see how we found this answer. But before we do that, just looking at this, I'm kind of getting the sense that this is going to be a definition. And we've got a couple of choices here. So, maybe one of the steps here is to look at each one of these possible answers and then, go to Article 100, see if you can find those definitions. All right, let's take a look at how we solved this problem. So we found out that this is going to be an Article 100 definitions, and that's within Chapter 1 General. And then we look at the parts, and we see Part 1, which is also called General. And then we find the definition for ground fault current path. When you hear the term ground fault current path, which is defined in Article 100, you might confuse it with the term effective ground fault current path, which is found in 250.4A5. They have commonalities between them, but are different in important ways. A ground fault current path is just a path where if the electrons find themselves energizing something like a metal box, that there is a path for those electrons to get back to their electrical source. An effective ground fault current path takes the above concept and adds to it by saying that this path to the source must be a low impedance, and we also call that resistance, path back to the sources so that the overcurrent protective device, the circuit breaker, for example, will open. And we also call that to trip. Or to facilitate a ground detector for a high impedance grounded system. It goes on further to say that the earth must not be used as an effective ground fault current path. Here's an example. Let's say we have a metal receptacle outlet box that is being fed from an NM cable with ground. That ground conductor is there for safety, just in case that the ungrounded, the hot conductors, touches the metal box. We don't want that metal box to remain energized. We want that ground conductor to provide a low impedance path back to the source of the electricity and for that branch circuit breaker to trip and stop the flow of electricity. If that breaker does not trip while that metal box is energized, then this is not an effective ground fault current path and might be considered just as a ground fault current path. Hopefully you have a better idea between the differences between these two commonly used terms. And again, the answer to this question was B, and that is ground fault current path. And we find that in definitions of 100, again, under ground fault current path.